is Shorty Lori, aka It's Just Lori, and it is time for a new video. So, this video that I'm doing, I've actually never done on this channel, and I just really needed to get my words out about it. So I am actually doing a movie review, and if you guys have seen, Glass is now in theaters, and I recently just saw it, and I have a lot to say about it. And just a heads up for people who are watching right now, there is gonna be spoilers, so if you have not seen this movie, I highly recommend going watching it. It's really great, and if you do want to be spoiled, then go ahead and keep watching, and if you've already seen it, then go ahead and keep watching. But just heads up, spoilers are ahead. So as I was saying, we are doing a movie review about Glass. Glass came out this year, 2018, but it's actually 2019. Came out this year in 2019. It is I want to say it's like the third one, but it's technically a sequel. It is a sequel to Split, which came out in 2016, and a sequel to Unbreakable that came out in 2000. And it is a movie that ties them together. And if you guys have not seen the first two, you probably should if you're gonna see Glass. But I will do a little explanation about him. In Unbreakable, it is about a guy named David Dunn who goes on a is on a train and gets wrecked, and he finds out that he's invincible. He can't get hurt by anything, and he doesn't want to believe it. But then this guy named Elijah, who has this disease that he breaks his bones super easily, and he's like obsessed with comic books, and basically tells David Dunn, hey, you're a superhero, I've studied this my whole life, you are a superhero, and your weakness is water and everything in that. So David Dunn finally believes it, and then he realizes Elijah has been making all these like train crashes, buildings burning, everything like killing lots of people he was a part of, because he is trying to find superheroes. And that is basically Unbreakable right there. With Unbreakable, when I first watched it, I watched Split before I watched Unbreakable. When I watched Unbreakable, it was kind of just like an introduction, which kind of made me like, it was like, okay, there was no like, I didn't feel, it was just like an intro to me. It wasn't like a whole full movie. It just seemed like the intro of a bigger movie, which kind of makes sense because Glass did come out. But that's how I felt on Unbreakable. And so yeah, that's all that happened in Unbreakable. And now about Split. Split came out in 2016. It is about a guy named Kevin Wendell Crumb who has 23 personalities, but we find out he actually has 24 personalities. The 24th one is something that's called the Beast, which is an animal-like creature that likes to kill people who have not felt hurt or have ever felt badness in their life. Basically, someone that's pure, that hasn't done anything wrong. So what it means by he has 24 personalities, he has a disease called DID, and he believes he has 24 personalities. So he kidnaps 3 girls and he kills 2 of them, and then with the third one, they find out that she has scars and everything, and that she's not pure, so he doesn't kill her, and that's basically about it. But at the end of Split is when you see that Unbreakable overlaps it. At the very end, they're like, oh, he reminds me of that guy, and then Bruce Willis shows up and he's like, you mean Mr. Glass, and then it ends. But yeah, so those are the 2 movies that make, I was going to say Unbreakable, that make Glass. Okay, now we're finally to the movie Glass. Glass came out this year. So Glass starts out with you finding out that David Dunn is trying to track down the Horde, which is the Kevin Crumb guy. That he is trying to find the Horde, and you actually find out it's actually 3 weeks after the kidnapping of the 3 girls, which is now the 1 girl who's alive. So it's been 3 weeks in time since that happened, and he is basically just trying to find the Horde to kill them, because hey, it's not cool kidnapping girls and killing them. So after a few searches, he did not find him, but then he actually does find him eventually. And when he does find him, this weird redhead lady takes them both to this medical research place, and Mr. Glass is there too, but unfortunately he's heavily sedated, as you guys think in the movie, so he has no emotion. And the redhead girl is basically saying, hey, I work on people who think that they're superheroes and try to tell you guys are not superheroes. And I was like, okay, whatever, they are superheroes when I was watching it. And then they get all 3 of them in a room, and she's basically dissecting them, saying, hey, your mind's just telling you this, but you're not actually a superhero, you're not actually super, you're just a normal human. And watching it, I wanted to punch her in the face. Like, I was watching it and I'm like, those are reasons that you can't be super, but I don't want to believe that. Like, they seem super to me, and it just drove me insane because I really wanted to punch her, because I'm like, chick, they're super, like, come on. So then after they realize they're not super, they actually start having doubts that they're super, which the redheaded lady wants them to find out. And then after that, they're all feeling very sad about themselves and everything. And I should point out real quick, just a little side note, Elijah's mom does make a comeback. David Dunn's son Joseph makes a comeback, who is very cute, I just want to point out. And Casey, who was one of the girls that were kidnapped in Split, does make a comeback. So I just wanted to put that in there because they do make a comeback in this movie. Anyway, moving back. So they do make a comeback. I just said I'm moving back, but hang on, I'm going back a little bit. They do make a comeback, and they actually still go and visit them. Joseph, which is David Dunn's son, tries to get him out of there. Casey actually goes and visits the Horde, and she can actually, like, if she which, like, this made me so happy. She goes and visits Kevin Crumb, and she actually, like, holds his hand, and she actually made him come in the light. What the light means, basically whichever personality comes out. And she actually makes him come in the light, but nobody wants Kevin in the light, so Kevin does not have that capability to come to the light. The other personalities are, like, forcing him not to be in the light. But I just thought that was really sweet that she was able to come have him in the light. And the redhead girl's like, I need you to help me, but she's like, nah, I'm not gonna help you. And she goes away. So back to what I was saying about before. I was talking about the other people. So when they do realize they're all sad, we actually find out that Elijah is not heavily sedated. He's actually been faking it. He is super smart, so he's actually been able to go out the doors and come back in, and he's been, like, timing when people are able, like, when it's a great time. So he's actually not heavily sedated, which is super awesome. And so yeah, he's not actually heavily sedated, he's just a big act, which I kind of guess, because why would Samuel L. Jackson just play a role of just sitting in a chair? Like, come on, I know you're getting paid, but if I was an actor, I would not just want to sit in a chair for a whole movie. Boring. So then after all that jazz, we find out that he, obviously I just said, he is not sedated, and he actually goes into the room with the Horde, Kevin Crumb, and he actually says, hey, I can get us out of here, I believe you, you are super. Comic book, he brings up comic books a lot, you are super, I believe you, but I need to meet the Beast, and we can meet the Beast and get out of here tomorrow night. And I think it is Patricia who has the light right now when he was in Visitor. Patricia is one of the personalities. And so yeah, he says, you just need to get the Beast out. So they finally agree. And then he says over the intercom to David Dunn's room saying, hey, the Horde's gonna get out and he's gonna terrorize the tower that's coming out, and you need to go stop him. You need to believe you're super. You need to break down this metal door because you can. You need to be able to do this. And so he's making this big master plan, basically. He's telling the Horde, hey, I'm going to show you off, show you that you are super. And then with David Dunn, he's like, hey, you need to come save this guy before he kills everyone. So he's kind of like playing two sides right now. And so, so he told him, basically. And then after that, something that I learned in film school was that when you are taking a photo, when you are making a movie, they show you things, and it is not like it's for a purpose. There's no reason to just have random things. There's a purpose for everything that's in that film. So if you listen to the lady, she tells him when he's sedated, hey, I saw you get out of your room. We know we have hundreds of cameras in here. I can tell what's going on, so don't even think you can outsmart us. So when he gets out of the room to go see the horde, he knows that they can see him. He makes this whole big elaborate thing of just rolling up and down the hallways. He's like, hey, I know you can see me. And so what happens is when he's going through the hallways, he takes because they're supposed to give him surgery to help fix him, so he takes the piece out so it doesn't give him surgery, but they think he got him surgery. He's just a very smart dude. Weirdo, but smart. Alrighty, so back to the movie real quick. So after they get out, they actually have this giant fight scene. David Dunn and the horde have this giant fight scene out in front of the building of them just fighting and blah 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 and all that jazz. And David Dunn's son, Casey Cook, and the mom are all watching this, which I think is weird. They're just standing there watching them fight and they're not doing anything. And then the redhead psychotic lady's like, oh, come get the cops, come save us. Like, these people are fighting, do something. So they are fighting, blah blah blah. And then we find out that Kevin has personalities because of childhood trauma. DID is kind of just a thing from trauma in a way. So the Beast personality is specific from when he was a child and his mom beat him. And so the Beast is basically there to protect Kevin Crumb. But Joseph Dunn comes in the middle of them fighting, I should point out. They're fighting and he goes in between them and says, hey, Kevin Crumb, your dad didn't leave you. Elijah's lying to you. You don't need to have the Beast inside you. He's lying. Your dad was actually on the same train as David Dunn was. So they were on the same train. So his dad wasn't actually leaving him. His dad died on a train. But it's the same train as David Dunn. What? Mind blown, I know. So that happened. So then the Beast goes over and kills Elijah. Because basically Elijah's lying to him and saying all this stupid crap. So he kills Elijah. And then David Dunn walks away. And then Casey goes and calms Kevin Wendell Crumb down. And she calms him down, because as early in the movie you can see she can calm him down like Kevin see the light. And they calm him down. And then he gets shot. The redhead girl has the police people shoot him. And it was literally the saddest thing I have ever witnessed. Because he was dying and all these personalities were coming out, and Barry, which is the OCD, not Barry, was it Barry? One of the OCD personality comes out and he's like, make sure my pants are clean. Like, that is heartbreaking. And then at the end, when he is dying with his last breath, Kevin finally beats the light and he can get through all his personalities, and he beats his DID and he dies. Like, that is heartbreaking. And then don't forget about David Dunn. So Elijah's dead right now. He's dying. The horde died. Then we go to David Dunn and Joseph's like, oh, that's my dad, don't worry about him, he's a good guy, he's on your side. And this person puts his head in a pothole puddle, not even like a big water thing, a pothole puddle, and drowns him. He drowns him in a pothole puddle in front of his son. So now he's dead and everyone else is dead. Everyone's dead. It was very heartbreaking. Okay, sorry, my camera died, so I had to charge it. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So everyone's dead right now, okay? Well, they're dying, and the redhead psychiatric lady comes up to him, and she starts like talking to him, like acting like she feels bad for them. But if you notice, she has the same tattoo as the guys that shot the horde and was drowning David Dunn in the puddle. They all have like this weird, it looks like a shamrock kind of tattoo. And she tells them this is for the best. If you never showed your other personality, you guys wouldn't be dead right now. And then she walks away. And you're like, what? What the hell? What? Like, doesn't make sense, right? So everyone's dying and everything, and then she goes to like this restaurant with these people, and it turns out that she and this group, hang on, my hair's blowing. So her and this group of people are trying to like normalize everyone. They're trying to normalize them and not let their super abilities come out. So that whole psychiatric building was just an act. Everyone knew that they didn't want people to know that they're supers. So her job was to make sure that they believed they weren't super, because this whole group wants to normalize everyone. They don't want anyone to be special or show that they can do these super abilities. So she believed them. She knew they had super abilities. She just wanted them to not have it anymore. And so she's like, that's my job. That's what I do. And then they're like, good job, lady. Now you can go to a different town and do the same exact thing. So she does. And before she goes to like a comic book store, which I don't even get. But I like how the comic book stores have Funko Pops, because, you know, Funko Pops are where it's at. But anyway, so she goes to a Funko Pop, not a Funko Pop store, a comic book store, and she overhears these kids talking about how villains like overthink everyone. And remember how earlier I said that they show you stuff because there's a purpose, and how she told them about the cameras and everything. So she goes back to the mental hospital place, and she realizes that Glass, before he died, downloaded all that footage, and that he never wanted to go to that tall building. He wanted to have the fight and everything to happen right then and there, because she said that there was hundreds of cameras tracking every move. So all those cameras were basically shooting these superheroes fighting, and so basically it was all an act. He planned all this because he's super smart, and he planned all this for them to see these superhero people. So that's what she did. That's what he did. And she thought she erased them, because that's what she was trying to do. She was trying to erase them so no one could even see them. But later in the movie, you see he goes to the control room, and you don't know what he's doing. He's just in the control room, and he downloads them, and he sends them to Casey, his mom, and Joseph Dunn. And he basically has this whole monologue about how everyone is super. If everyone just looks inside them, they could find something special about them, and they can be like a comic book character. And that everyone has, like, a lot of people have them. It's just not these 3 people. Because the Horde was the 24 personalities that had super strength because of the Beast. Unbreakable, who basically can't break. And then Mr. Glass, who had a super mind. So he sent this video and this like monologue in the background, basically saying, hey, everyone's super. And so those 3 released them. They're all on the train station, and they released that video that Mr. Glass sent him before he died. And basically you see all these people getting these messages, and they're like relieved. And I think it's because they probably had super capabilities that they didn't want to believe, or that they thought was wrong. So they let them loose. They get to let them loose. And that was the end of the movie, which I really liked the ending, because I didn't like that redhead chick. She got her karma. But yeah, she really wanted to normalize everyone. And to me, that was a really great movie. Really great ending. I thought it was just gonna end when they died, and now I was gonna be pissed off. But like, yo, I am not waiting for another movie to figure out what the heck's going on here. But yes, and that was the movie of Glass. So my take on the movie Glass was, it was a really great movie. I loved the ending. But the one thing that kind of just like got to my mind, was how I said that Kevin Crumb's dad was on the same train as David Dunn. And if you look, they show like a flashback of his dad getting on, Kevin Crumb's dad getting on a train. And he's about the same age as Joseph, David Dunn's son. So they're about the same age when that train crash happened. So now when they're at the hospital, wouldn't you think they'd be about the same age? Like, if you look at it, I'm going to show 2 pictures right here. They don't look the same age. To me, they don't. I don't know. They might be an age difference. I did look up the birthdays. They are about like 8-9 years apart. So they are about around the same age, but I just felt like they would be more same age looking. But when they were little, they were probably about different ages then. But it was just odd for me because I didn't think about that. Because in my head, I'm like, wouldn't they be the same age then? Because they don't look the same age. They really don't. But they're like 8-9 years apart. But I think it's, I mean, it's okay. It was a really good way to like tie everything together. I just didn't like how that part made me think, well, wouldn't they be the same age? But that's just my head. You guys probably didn't care. But my head thought, hey, they don't look the same age. But apparently they're supposed to be the same age. But yeah, besides that, I really did think it was a great movie. I loved how it tied Unbreakable and Split together, because with Unbreakable, like I said, it felt like it was just an introduction, which makes sense now because it was for the movie Glass. But I really did like that movie, and Mr. Glass just mind-blown me because he, just mind-blowing. That ending though, sadness, way cool things that he thought of before he even died. So basically he did a suicide mission. He just outthought everyone, even us in the movie theater, even me. Like, I don't know, maybe other people knew that that was gonna happen, but I had no idea. I was like, what? It was a crazy, mind-blowing movie, and I highly recommend you guys going and watching it. If not in theaters, then get it when it's on DVD. Definitely a great movie. And if you have not seen Split and Unbreakable, probably should go watch those too. But I highly do recommend this movie, and I thought it was just great. I thought all the actors did a great job. I'm glad that they did not replace any characters. Even David Dunn's son was the same actor that he was when he was a kid. Like, come on, other movies. We know when you replace them. We know. So I'm glad they did not replace those people, because it makes the movie better to me. And M. Night Shyamalan, you've done it again. You've just mind-blown me to the max with this movie. It was incredible. I just think one thing that I thought was super cool about the movie is that they have the same color scheme. Mr. Glass always wore purple throughout the movie. Even in the Unbreakable, he wore purple. And in Kevin Wendell Crumb wore yellow, so throughout the movie he was mostly in yellow besides a couple scenes, but he was mostly in yellow. And then David Dunn was mostly in green, which was really neat. And what I thought was I liked how they did it, because if you look, when they're in the psychiatric ward, most of the time they're all wearing the same color because they're just giving them uniforms to wear while they're there. But they each had different things to wear, which I thought was really a really cool, interesting take. And another interesting take was that if you saw when Joseph Dunn went into the comic book store, the hero's side was in green and then the villain's side was in purple, which kind of represented David Dunn and Mr. Glass. By the end though, I'm not sure if I would still consider Mr. Glass a villain. I mean, I kind of do, because he kind of set things up and he killed a lot of people, which is not cool. But at the same time, he kind of like, he made sure those videos were released, that people knew that it was okay to have superpowers and that you just need to look inside yourself and you will find them. So I'm not 100% sure if I can still consider him a villain or a hero. What are your guys' suggestions? Put in the comments below if you think that Mr. Glass is a hero or a villain. It's kind of hard to figure out which one he would be right now. I mean, they're all dead now, so now it really doesn't matter, but it's still kind of a cool thing to think about. So like I said, this movie was great. I would give it about an 8 out of 10. I would not give it a 10 out of 10 just because the train thing and the kids age thing just bothered me. But I really did really like this movie, and I will definitely buy it when I get it out. I like how that M. Night Shyamalan thought of this starting in 2000. So that's 19 years ago. He thought about this movie that long ago, that he made a movie in 2000, then he made one in 2016, and then he made one in 2019 just to make one like big movie thing. Like, that's just crazy to me. Like, he thought about this. So he is definitely a great director. I give him a clap. He was awesome. Thumbs up. Definitely recommend this movie. I hope you guys liked this review, and I hope you guys liked seeing what I saw when I watched that movie. I kind of just commentaried a lot of it because I was just giving you what I thought about it. But tell me what you guys thought of the movie. If you guys liked it, didn't like it, what you guys' thoughts about it. So I really hope you guys like this movie. I'm going to try to do more movie reviews because I think they're kind of fun. And I just need to go to the movies more often because I love movies. So I just do need to get this. I hope you guys really enjoyed this movie. Please give it a like if you thought it was awesome. Please subscribe down below if you have not subscribed yet. And I will have a new video for you guys soon. Bye guys!